Mr. President.
The Majority Leader.
In just a few minutes, President Obama will deliver another blow to the economy and to the middle class. He'll unveil regressive regulations that are set to harm struggling workers and families. They're projected to cost literally billions. They threaten to ship good middle-class jobs overseas. They're likely to make it harder to maintain reliable sources of energy to meet demand. They'll also likely result in higher energy bills for those who can least afford them, potentially raising electricity rates by double digits for people that I represent. All of this, Mr. President, and for what? For what? Not only will these massive regulations fail to meaningfully affect the global climate, but they could actually end up harming the environment by outsourcing energy production to countries with poor environmental records like India and China. They may also be illegal. That's why I wrote the governors earlier this year, suggesting they take a responsible wait-and-see approach and allow the courts to weigh in before subjecting their citizens to such unnecessary pain. The Supreme Court's rebuke to the White House in June on another environmental regulation underlines the wisdom of this approach. Even though that mercury regulation was ultimately tossed out, most of its damage had already been done. It reminded governors that it would be reckless not to take a wait-and-see approach this time. Now, Mr. President, several governors have already decided they won't allow the administration to rush them into adopting these regulations, and I expect more to follow. I was recently able to place language in the Senate Interior Appropriations Bill that would prohibit the administration from arbitrarily imposing its will on states that take this responsible approach. Senator Capito also has a bill that would prohibit the regulations from moving forward until the courts have ruled on their legality. These aren't the only legislative options Congress can consider. We can pursue other avenues like CRA resolutions and further appropriations riders as these regulations are published and as they wind their way through the courts. But here's the bottom line about today's announcement. If the Obama administration were actually serious about advancing renewable energy, then it would follow the example of what leaders like Senator Murkowski have been achieving in the Energy Committee. She's showing how we can make big strides on energy diversification, that we can do it in a bipartisan way, and that we don't have to punish the middle class to do it. But this White House seems to want good politics, not good policy. Officials in this administration have said they want to make electricity rates skyrocket, and that they want to make examples out of people who get in the way. And they're tired of having to work with Congress, the people elected. That's why the administration is now trying to impose these deeply regressive regulations that may be illegal, that won't meaningfully impact the global environment, and that are likely to harm middle and lower class Americans the most, all done by executive fiat. It represents a triumph of blind ideology over sound policy and honest compassion. And in Kentucky, these regulations would likely mean fewer jobs, shuttered power plants, higher electricity costs for families and businesses. So I'm not going to sit by while the White House takes aim at the lifeblood of our state's economy. I'm going to keep doing everything I can to fight them.